coming out, as we're going to be talking with Congresswoman Salazar in a minute. And we understand she has joined us now, Congresswoman Maria Salazar of the great state of Florida. How are you, Congresswoman? It's Rita Cosby. And first of all,
Rita.
your big reaction to the Biden administration, everybody's talking about it. He is now going to build at least part of the wall.
Well, they're a little bit hypocritical, but it was about time now that they realized that they have no other way forward. After 3 years of a border opened completely, now they went back to the only tool that they thought it worked, and it did work. It was under the Trump administration, and they said that it was going to be inhumane and that they were never going to build another inch of a wall. Look, and that's why the American people are so cynical and so disgusted with politics, because you say one thing and then you do another.
Well, Maria, the White House is saying that there's no change in policy here.
Oh, my God.
Yes, they are. And in fact, I don't know if you saw, but they were hammering. They were saying, no, the wall still doesn't work, but we're forced to use it because there's an allocated amount. Yet Mayorkas last night, the Homeland Security Secretary, came out and said, there's a dire crisis. All these illegals are crossing. Yeah. We need to build. They can't even keep their story straight.
He was saying the border was secure.
He did up until last night. It changed. Last night it changed.
Governor Patterson?
Congresswoman, I was very impressed this afternoon. I saw you on CNN talking about Ukraine and how much we have to keep an eye on Ukraine. I was wondering if you'd share some of those thoughts with this audience.
Of course. Listen, I represent the city of Miami, the heart of the Cuban exile community. My parents know exactly what the Russians do to you. They oppress you. It's misery and oppression and then exile. So we need to send a very strong message to Mr. Putin that he cannot keep Ukraine, because if we don't, and let me just say something, we haven't lost one soldier in Ukraine, A. B, 5% of the military budget is going to Ukraine, no more than that. And number three, if we abandon Ukraine now, the war is going to be a lot bigger and it's going to cost us a lot more, including American boys and girls. So it's very clear for us, the Cubans and the Hispanics in District 27 in Florida, we know what the Russians do to you, that you stop them on their tracks and send a very clear message to Mr. Putin that we are not going to abandon the Ukrainians, who, by the way, they are fighting for their lives. You know why? Because they were with the Russians, and 30 years ago they savored democracy and freedom. Right,
and Putin is systematically destroying their cities, and kidnapping tens of thousands of kids to Russia.
Come on, there's no accountability. The communists are in the business of power, not in the business of serving their people, and we know it in this hemisphere. Fidel Castro, Hugo Chavez, Ortega. Look what's happening in this hemisphere. We know it very well, and I know it very well because I have those constituents in District 27. So that's why they vote Republicans, because they know that we've got to stop the Russians and the communists, including China. Nothing that deals with the communists is good. And Ronald Reagan said it.
And even in the past few hours, they blew up an occupation that was taken back by Ukraine and killed 51 people. And clearly that was a message that I believe Putin thinks that because we're having a little instability in our leadership, that this is a time to strike.
Of course. And that's why we are in the war, because I remember a year ago, the message sent by the White House to Mr. Putin, oh, please, if you're going to invade, don't invade too much. Just make it light. The message was completely wrong, and that's why we are in the mess we're in. Well, President Trump or a Republican president would have sent a different message, and we would not be in the situation we're in.
And we're in the mess because Putin got into Biden's head. He got concerned about World War III. Got concerned about nuclear. You can't do that. You got to show strength. Should have gone right at it, given the Ukrainians whatever they needed in order to make sure that they could defeat the Russians. That he escalated slowly. That doesn't work.
No, the drip, drip, drip. And also,
Drip.
let's
Doesn't
talk about
work.
the beginning where he said a minor incursion and Afghanistan withdrawal.
Don't forget, Afghanistan withdrawal set the marker, which is it's all fair game. And Taiwan could be next, Congresswoman.
You know what it said? That the administration is weak. That's what it said on foreign policy.
And Joe Katsamatidis just said it. You just said it, Mr. Katsamatidis, that if we abandon Ukraine, Taiwan is next because China is going to be emboldened because the White House is asleep.
And the other thing I don't understand, Maria, Congresswoman, is the fact that is the fact that President Biden has said to the Ukrainians, "You can fight the war in the Ukraine, but don't cross
Russia.
Don't cross the Russian border." I mean, I don't know if we should laugh or cry.
Cry.
Of course.
You know, and also the F-16s. We're going to get you the F-16s. And now the latest is next year. I mean, can you imagine you're in the middle of a war, John, and they say, we'll get you what you need in a year.
We'll get around to it.
Congresswoman, thank you so much for calling in and keep fighting for our country and remind everybody that Cuba is not a good place to live in, and we don't want to turn the United States into Venezuela. Thank you so much.
Of course. Anything that smells like socialism is bad for us.